Hi there, I'm the GCSE science teacher, and in today's lesson, we are going to be focusing on cell structure. We're going to define what eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells are. We're going to discover the structures within animal, plant, and bacterial cells. So let's get started. Eukaryotic cells are cells which have a nucleus. This includes plant and animal cells. They're usually much larger cells compared to prokaryotic cells, around the 10 to 100 micrometer in size mark. Now, what is a micrometer? It is a thousandth of a millimeter. So we're talking really, really small still. We still need to use microscopes to actually see these cells and the structures within them, but they are much bigger than prokaryotic cells. Now, prokaryotic cells, these are cells which do not have a nucleus. Instead, their DNA is found free within the cytoplasm. They also have extra bits of DNA called plasmids. And like I say, they are smaller than eukaryotic cells. We're talking zero point 0.1 to 5 micrometers in diameter. Animal cells have very specific structures to them, and we call these structures organelles. So, the first one we've talked about is the nucleus. It contains DNA, it controls what the cell does. Cytoplasm is where all the chemical reactions happen within the cell. We have the cell membrane, which controls what enters and exits the cell, and it's very particular in what it allows in and out of it. We have mitochondria if there's many, or mitochondrion if there's only one of them. This is where respiration happens. And respiration is a chemical reaction which utilizes glucose to break it down and release energy, which can be used all around the organism. Ribosomes are also found within animal cells. They are where they're structures where protein synthesis can actually occur. And what that means is how and where proteins are made. So, in terms of the human body, we have lots of proteins. We have hormones, we have structural proteins, such as collagen, and they actually help the body or an organism actually function in the way it needs to. Those organelles are also found in plant cells because they are eukaryotes, but not only that, plant cells have very specific organelles that we're going to discuss now. So, the cell wall is made of cellulose. A cellulose is a polymer of glucose, which means glucose molecules are all stuck together and make up a specific structure called cellulose in this case. Now, the cell wall, its main function is for structural support for the plant. Also protection, but structural support is the main one you need to know. The vacuole, this vacuole is a permanent vacuole. And the reason it's permanent is because it's always there. It stores cell sap and keeps the cell swollen and stores that water that also is taken up by the roots of a plant. Animal cells have a temporary vacuole in some cases, and we'll talk more about this in infection and response, because some of the animal cells, like white blood cells, will actually utilize vacuoles to help digest certain um, structures that they take in. And like I said, this will be covered in future lessons. Last but not least, plant cells also contain chloroplasts, and this is where photosynthesis happens. Photosynthesis is a reaction that uses light energy to fuse carbon dioxide and water molecules together, and that chemical reaction drives a product called glucose, which can be used by the plant in various different ways. Last but not least, we have bacterial cells. The organelles found within include a loop of free DNA. So there's no nucleus in a bacterial cell. Remember, it's a prokaryotic cell. They also contain plasmids, which are extra parts of DNA, and they have very specific useful genes on them, which actually can sometimes code for antibiotic resistance. So, some bacteria are able to share that information to other bacteria, and we actually can end up with superbugs like MRSA, which are very difficult to treat with antibiotics and other medications. And last but not least, we have flagella or flagellum, if we're talking about one of them. These aren't always in bacterial cells, but if they are, their main function is for movement, and they act like a tail to help that bacteria cell move. Thank you so much for watching. Like I say, I've been the GCSE science teacher and you have been curious. If you want more, follow me on Instagram at the GCSE science teacher. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.